This is Michael Kaplan, and I am here with Laurie Maston and with Phil DeCaprio and Chinda Chun from NACFA headquarters. And we are here celebrating a very happy occasion. And we are going to be presenting the 2022 Thomas R. Porter Lifetime Achievement Award. Our recipient this year is Phil DeCaprio, who is an esteemed member of the NACVA, and he's an esteemed member of the profession, and I've known him for many, many years. And those people who know him best know that he is literally a leader, a superstar, a guiding star in our profession. I'm going to share with you a little bit about him. And one of the beautiful things is that Phil has participated extensively in NACFA boards, NACFA activities, NACFA education, NACFA credentials, but he's also participated to a great degree extensively in the greater profession, in the AICPA, the Connecticut Society of CPAs. He actually sat on the Connecticut State Board of Accountancy from 1999 to 2014. And that is only the beginning of the many, many accomplishments that Phil has had in his professional career. I want to give you a little background about the Thomas R. Porter Lifetime Achievement Award. Tom also was a guiding star of our profession. And he was the professional's professional. We all looked up to him. He was the guy we wanted to be when we grow up. And I had the privilege of teaching with Tom for many, many years. And he left us too soon. And, we were very close. Tom adored his family. As active as he was in the profession, he was in the community. And as I looked at Phil DeCaprio and his qualifications, clearly he presents, as being the expert's expert, as being someone who is an individual of the highest character, who demonstrates that in everything that he does. He's published, he's received awards. He received the Distinguished Author Award from the Connecticut Society of CPAs. He was the outstanding discussion leader for a number of years. He received the Connecticut Secretary of State Public Service Award, the Branford Italian American Society Man of the Year, Knights of Columbus, Notre Dame High School Knights and Honor Award. He has all the professional credentials. He's been the president of the New Haven Association of CPAs, Connecticut Society of CPAs, the chairman of the Connecticut Society of CPAs Educational Trust, the Board of Accountancy, as I mentioned before. And out in the community, it's not only the professional end of it, but the personal end of it, and giving back to the community. He is has been a board member of the Columbus House Homeless Shelter Program. He's been a member of a number of civic organizations. He's been involved in fundraising and coaching and advising at various schools. And I can go on and on and on and on. And it is certainly a privilege to be here as part of the award presentation to a very, very deserving candidate. Laurie.
Yes, I want to just add one thing, because that you actually shared a lot of why Phil kind of rose to the top of all the candidates to be the recipient of this award. But one little informational piece that you left out was that his service to the profession started in 1970, going back that far when he first sat on committees for his state society of CPAs. And so I think when service comes to mind, I do think that longevity and commitment to service is important, and thinking that his initial, that's not his initial foray into our profession at all, but that's when he started volunteering, and 52 years of volunteerism to the profession is incredible. Now, Phil, when we were interviewing you, you told us a couple of stories, and I would love for you to share those with our membership. One of them was some advice that your father had given you. Would you be okay to share that with us?
Yes, I would be proud to. And I hope there are a number of younger professionals in the audience, because I'd like to share with them what my father told me. And it was the night that he passed away. And my last visit with him, I was a young college student, and he asked me how things were going. And I said, the work is very hard. I have a lot of work to do. And he said to me, well, that's good. And you have to work hard. But he said, you also have to give back something, give back to the community, and give back something to the people you work with. And he told me three things. He said, get involved, make a difference, and leave it better than you found it. And that was like the trigger. And after that, I was never able to say no. And after 57 years in this profession, 25 of which are in the valuation, forensic, and litigation support arena, I suddenly find myself being honored by NACVA with an award that I never dreamed I'd ever get. So again, I'd like to talk to the young people in our profession, because your time is valuable. I understand that, and you need some personal time, but you do have to give something back. And I can't emphasize enough how rewarding that is. It was work, but you went home at night with a wonderful feeling in your heart that you did make a difference. No matter how small or big it is, people understand and people will gravitate toward you. So it'll not only help you spiritually, but it definitely will help your career if that's something you're looking to do.
Now, I hope everybody takes a moment to take that in, because that's great advice that we might have all heard in somewhat a different form, or one or two pieces, but all three of them put together really kind of help frame it out. One other question I want to ask you too is, and I believe you shared this with us as well, but you knew Tom Porter. Is that correct?
I've been to several NACVA annual meetings, and I did meet him with Michael, and it was an honor for me to meet him. I never worked with him, but listening to Michael talk about him and then finally meeting him at an ACFA conference was quite an event for me.
One of the things that that I know that my takeaway from knowing Tom, and one of the big lessons just as an expert witness that has helped me in my own career, was to learn how to speak in plain English, straightforward language. Does that ring any bells or resonate with you at all?
Absolutely. I think, especially in a courtroom, and about 35 years ago, I was at a seminar with an expert witness from Texas. And he said to me, a lot of CPAs go to court and they don't want to appear stupid. So they start using jargon and they start trying to appear to be much smarter than they are. And don't forget, you're talking to laymen. They don't understand the technical issues that we deal with. So he told me three things. He said, wear a blue suit, wear a white shirt and a conservative tie. And he said, you're the symbol of authority. All police wear blue uniforms. That's an authoritative color. He said, but don't talk down to people. Let people understand what you did, what you're doing, and what your opinion is. And there was one case I worked on, and it was a divorce case with a valuation of 3 separate businesses. And I represented the business owner, and the non-property spouse brought in an expert from another state for what I understood was a fee that was about 5 times what I charged. And he expounded upon what he did, and he came up with a number that was 10 times higher than my number. So the attorney that hired me panicked, and she said, I don't know what to do. I don't know. What are you going to say when you get to court? And I said, just ask me one question. And she said, what do you mean? I said, ask me one question and I'll take it from there. She said, what should I ask you? I said, ask me how to do a business valuation. And she did. I looked at the judge and I said, these are the principles and standards by which we do our work. And I expounded upon those in plain language. Then I stopped and I said, here's how I applied those standards to this case. 1, 2, 3. Opposing counsel got up and could not cross-examine me. There were no questions. And, we ultimately won that case. I couldn't help but think about this old timer 35 years ago telling me not to be arrogant, just to be a teacher and to let people understand what we do. And it came in very handy.
Now, Michael, can I ask one more question? Then I'll hand the mic back to you.
Sure.
Okay, excellent. So one last question for you, Phil. What are your thoughts about the mentor that you had? I think one of the things in our profession that all of us recognize is that the art side of what we do is something that we must learn and practice like journeymen. And some of us are lucky enough to have mentors. I had one for a brief amount of time. I would have loved to have had that time a little bit longer, but I had to basically learn what I know right now by the School of Hard Knocks. Can you tell us a little bit about your mentor?
The first CPA firm I worked for, which I started in the accounting profession in 1964. I was still a student, but I was fortunate enough to get a job at a CPA firm. And every day when my classes ended, that's where I went. And there was a junior partner at that firm, but a very wise and polished person he was. And one of the first things he told me was, if you're afraid of making a mistake, get out of this profession. Because he knew how nervous I was, that I wanted to do my job right. And it just grew from there. He let me know in no uncertain terms that it's a people business and that I had to gain people's confidence and make them comfortable and let them know that I was comfortable in what I was doing for them, that I had the ability to do it, and that if I didn't know how to do it, I sure as heck would find out. And that served me very well for the 4 or 5 years that I worked at that firm, and later on at other firms I worked at. And then later in my career, when I got involved with NACVA and we were running a lot of state chapter meetings, he showed up at a meeting. And here he was in his 80s, and he wanted to learn new things from me. And, it was like starting my career all over again. So I hope that the young people in our audience are able to have somebody like that in their life, It sounds like you did, and I know it's all the years of study in college, no matter how much you learn, you need somebody like that to set you off on the right foot.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Michael, back to you.
Well, you've shared quite a bit, Phil, with us and with the members of the NACVA. And are there any defining moments of your career that you would like to share with us?
I think in my professional career, becoming the president of the Connecticut CPA Society was one of the bright spots. And when in the old days, I'll use that term, the annual meeting of the Connecticut CPA Society was a very big deal. There were 500 or 600 members in attendance, and the incoming president would give a speech, and the outgoing president would turn the gavel over to the incoming president. And I was able to talk about many of the things that I talked about today. And after the meeting was over and after my speech was over, there was a line of people that wanted to talk to me. And I think that was the moment at which I thought I did something good in this profession and that people could respect and honor me. But it pales in significance to this honor that you folks on a national level have achieved. There are wonderful people in our profession, and many people have done even more than I've done in my career. So to be honored by you folks and receiving this award, it's a blessing I'll never forget. Thank you very much.
And thank you for all that you've done for the NACVA, for the community. And it is an honor and a privilege to present you with the 2022 Thomas R. Porter Lifetime Achievement Award.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Michael.